Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, February 21st, I think. Alan's with me. Um, I, I had a good day. I didn't knock it out of the park profitable, but I woke up and I don't want to say knew what was happening, but I kind of had a good idea of what would happen today, and it actually did. Um, and I'll kind of go through that. So I woke up or I started with looking at my CNBC app, and Home Depot and Walmart, which are two big Dow components, were down. Um, in comments from Home Depot, the retailer issued muted outlook because it expects some pressure in the goods sector and flat consumer spending. And these days, shoppers are using their discretionary dollars, and that's what it's about. It's about discretionary spending. When times are starting to get tough, you kind of pull back on those. And I maybe I should apologize because I don't have, like, I know some discretionary stocks. My go-to was Gap clothing. I'm kind of bummed at myself because later in the afternoon, I realized that another one was Abercrombie and Fitch, which is A&F. And we'll look at those two charts because I think Gap was down 4%. A&F was down 7 or 8%. But I don't have like a concrete list, I guess, of, okay, if I know discretionary stocks, I'm going to go to these guys. If I have oil stocks, because I saw that, and it was interesting because oil was up last night. Someone actually texted me about it. And then oil was down today. So I don't know what did I play. I think I played CVX, but CVX, Oxy, XOM, oil stocks. But getting back to Home Depot, are using their discretionary dollars towards experience and travel. And we kind of saw that, COVID kind of settled down. Airlines started filling up, travel stocks. So yeah, like I said, I read that from Home Depot and I said, yeah, and I've heard it before. I hear it from my company, this year is going to be a tough year. Who knows what's going to face the consumer. And I kind of chuckle because when Alan and I started talking today, we were discussing end of the earth kind of things. And I'll let him get to that. But like I said, I played Gap. And again, you had this drop. We came back and tested the 5-minute. But if you look at the 3-month, I mean, that's a pretty big candle. And I think, like I said, that's around 4%. A&F, even a bigger drop. I know Alan played Tesla today. Sort of, you can kind of consider it a discretionary stock because,
it's anything that's a high price ticket.
Yeah, if you can do without something, when times are getting tough, you're going to kind of do without them. So yeah, like I said, that was my, I guess, feel good story for the day. I saw that Home Depot thing. I knew the consumer was kind of in trouble. And I kind of played it accordingly. Now
well,
I was going to say,
thing is that the reason that their profit and their other their profit and their sales were down is because the difference in the lumber prices dropping so sharply.
Right, I read that too. Yeah, they're so erratic. If you remember back 6 months ago, there was lumber prices were sky high. So it's, yeah, interesting. And I think, I posted for GPS. And bailed on that lotto. Here was that critical level that I kind of played out on my 3-month chart. Here's that 10 SMA crossing below the 20. So I was happy with 40%. I see this dropping more, but who knows what tomorrow's going to bring if the market, and we can go look at the Dow, if we're going to rebound a little bit, because this was a pretty big sell-off. We kind of,
So going to your chart there, the indicator on the 20-day SMA at the 3 months is that we're below that. So it really had nowhere to go. We went ahead and came even with it. And
yeah,
then the market had really nowhere to go because it went below it. And then we were going to go ahead and take a pretty good drop. No surprise there.
yeah. And
It
if you notice, we kind of closed at the low. And I think we saw that with the SPY as well.
Yeah.
So like I said, it'll be interesting what
So
tomorrow.
big quiz today. What was the only thing that was up?
Defense, right? RTX.
Nope.
Because I
I'm
thought
not saying it wasn't up. What did RTX do today?
no, they dropped almost 1%.
Yeah, I figured the only thing that was up was Cleveland Cliffs and US Steel.
Oh, I saw that trigger. Yeah. Um, yeah, and they're just
That's
coming
because
back,
that's because they took the hammer on Friday,
right?
so you had a rebound today. I just get a kick how the markets work. I mean, 650-point drop or so, and US Steel is up, It's just so fascinating how the market works that they'll go ahead and they'll pick on a sector, and the sector that was up today was steel.
Yeah.
And I think US Steel still finished the day up 28 cents. So it was very interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
up
I just
1.5, up in a
yeah
1.25% up.
yeah
Last thing I want to talk about, because I posted about it last night, is this is a project I'm working on. And there are quite a few variables to it. This assumes you buy it at 2 p.m. Eastern, like that window of 2 to 2:30 Eastern, and you sell it at the open. This is your buy price. This is your sell price. And the problem I'm running into is it's based on an aggregate window. If that window is too small, let's say 5 minutes, these option strikes may not even have any volume. So they'll show 0 on these things. So like I think right now they're set at a half an hour. So the first half hour, wherever that option price closes, that's what's going to be reported here. I was talking with Alan in regards to Google. So, and basically what Google does, and I've seen it before, it'll 2:30 Eastern, and then it'll drop the rest of the day. It'll bounce in the morning, Friday morning, and then 10 a.m. Eastern, it'll sell off the rest of the day. So like I said, there are quite a few variables in here that right now I don't have the ability to select them on the screen. I have to manually go into the code and say, okay, I want a 30-minute window and 1 strike out of the money. So it's a project that I'm working on, and I may just add like the high of the option price to see if we get a better feel for it. And it's funny because I think I'm just procrastinating developing the earnings app or the option volume app for iOS devices because I'm a little nervous about it. It's going to be a pretty big undertaking. I just gotta, and it's been quite a while since I've looked at iOS programming. So I'm kind of like maybe finding filler projects to take up that space. Um, but it is something I got to work on. And like I said, I want to play out this Google strategy to see if that taking a lotto, because if you look at some of these prices, $30, 30, 35, $50. That's not too expensive to play for a lotto if Google kind of stays with its narrative and does what it normally does. This is kind of an outlier because it was earnings, so $200 is kind of expensive.
Mhm.
So yeah. Um, so I so I have, like I said, I have a couple projects for you guys that I need to work on. One is that earnings app in the iOS store. Um, Another thing is how to use the 5-minute app to kind of create a comprehensive video. And I can, once you get the concept, like, Alan traded Tesla today. Tesla would have triggered right here. And you can get in here, play this downside, but look what it usually does is it does this V, and this is the best place to go short when it comes back up and threatens that 5-minute low.
Hey, did you see that video I posted of Oliver Velez?
I didn't watch it. I'm a busy guy.
That-
I need to because I need to. Um, but yeah, so like I said, once the a stock triggers on the 5-minute app, wait for a green candle, wait for a retracement, and then go in the direction that it did. Um, so yeah, I that's what I gotta say. I'm gonna toss it over to Alan. I don't know, you want to get into your end of days or you want
Well,
to
the thing is that I talk a little bit about, the Jewish faith and stuff going on around the world, and I think everybody is very aware that we're playing with a powder keg that in so many places. We're playing with a powder keg in North Korea. They're firing missiles on a daily basis. He's not going to allow us to do the war games. They got missiles that can hit the United States. You got China sending balloons with who knows what kind of maybe chemicals on there going into possibly into our water supplies.
yeah,
Possibly,
what
we don't
their
know what's
intentions
going
are?
on. Yeah, we don't know. Um, and then we're having the water around the world. The rivers around the world, according to the internet, are all evaporating and drying up and disappearing. And if you look in Google, the Mississippi River, pictures of the Mississippi River, where around Memphis they can't even bring barges; it's all dry land. You got the Danube River, you got the Thames, you got rivers out in Israel are drying up left and right. You got the Euphrates River, which is supposed to dry up in the end times, and that they're supposed to have armies walk across the Euphrates River into battle.
Hmm,
It's just interesting all the stuff that we're seeing um, in a short amount of time. The earthquakes, um, we see them in Turkey and such,
right.
and you're supposed to see signs in the sky. I mean, we're shooting down UFOs, who are whatever they are. It just,
It's funny for you guys, I and I'm not a very religious person, but I saw a post this morning about one of something of Matthew that said, and it was about Groundhog Day and how, we all look to the shadow, but you should look to the light, and you should be a light um, for everyone else. And why, we don't put lights under blankets, we put them up on a stand so everybody can see. And then Alan comes with his Matthew's end of day biblical verse. So
Matthew 24, at the end of the days, there'll be earthquakes, there'll be
right, yeah,
signs in the skies, they'll
yeah.
have, a lot of stuff going on. Um, and I've been just living the days, and then all of a sudden, like, all the stuff's going on. It's just like crazy.
Yeah.
Wars and rumors of wars, but
I think we need a day of unplugging or like a little retreat kind of thing for the world. Um, so yeah, yeah,
so is one of the things is today, there's not a surprise. The telltale signs were there because of the market on Friday. And then on the market on Monday and how they responded. Um, Home Depot and Lowe's, they got totally annihilated today on their stock. It was not a good day for them. When a stock goes ahead and cannot go ahead and rebound at all, that's not a good thing. So they started down low, and you probably could have got a 30 to 50% increase just buying it open. I mean, it went down all day.
yeah,
Me personally, Tesla, I thought was so where when it came back up to the 5 minute high is when I bought, and then I went ahead and doubled down when it went ahead and broke the 5 minute low. That's one of the techniques you can use on it. Another technique is you could just play it straight.
yeah.
But
And you know what? Let's go look. Let me share this and let's go look at that 5 minute of Tesla because
yeah, I mean, you had it right off the bat.
why is that doing that? Maximize. So here's the 5 minute hit a high.
Yeah, the trade was there, but it didn't go. It didn't trigger till like 9:45. That's about where I got in.
Yeah,
And I mean, we're off to the races now. I wish I would have held a little bit longer. I made a very nice return. I don't like to go ahead and be too crazy, but I got into the low of the day. Well, I shouldn't say the low of the day because the low of the day was at the end of the day, but I
yeah.
got in the second low of the day.
You
So
got out.
yeah, I got out. Yeah.
Yeah, I and you mentioned not overholding. I thought the same thing with Triple M that I played. Um, and I originally had a sell order for a double, and I would have got it had I not got spooked right here. I think it was right here.
Oh, you
Uh,
were short Triple M.
yeah. Um, and
That's
I
a nice.
don't.
Oh, look at that nice 5 minute bar, that first one. You
Yeah.
know what I get a kick, Brian, when someone tells me, "Oh, I play the 5 minute rule and it doesn't work." I said, "Well, go ahead and tell me the day, tell me when you did it, and tell me how it did work." I mean, how could you lost money today playing the 5 minute rule?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, and
Yeah.
and I think a lot of it is having patience. There are cases where it's gonna like drop or break this five low and continue to drop. But there are other days where it's going to retrace back up, and I think that's what a lot of people do. They just jump in right away, and then when it retraces, they just bail on it. Like if you look at Tesla, let's say you got in here where it triggered, and then you overheld it, and now you're back up here, and now you're negative, and they're like, "Oh, I'm losing money. I got to get out," even though it never broke. You have to remember that these 5 minute high and low lines, these once you get in, these become your stops.
And
Um,
remember what Oliver Velez says. Watch that video. We were talking to Brian about it. It's been a documented fact that that's a 90% wall. That means it will not break it, but only 10% of the time. So
yeah,
basically, you've got the green light. You take the trade, and I mean, what kind of odds you want? You don't get those kind of odds at the casino.
right, exactly. Yeah. Um, I'm gonna leave it at here because I think it's getting long. And I have to work on, and what I need to do is jump over to my new computer, and maybe that'll help. But when I went and looked at back at last week's video, because I was curious about the option chain for J&J, I couldn't even see it. It was somewhat blurry. So I need to work on that. I don't know if anybody out there knows why when I post videos to YouTube that they become blurry. Um,
Oh.
But I will leave you with this because I know,
Apple.
huh? What's that?
Do you do it in Apple or Google?
So I recorded in Apple, and maybe it's like because this computer is like a 2013 and the webcam is part of it. So maybe that's part
So
of it.
what it is that everything that my wife does on Apple is blurry. And then what we have to do is run it through something. So
Hmm.
we'll run it through like Facebook Messenger, and then it goes ahead and changes the format and it comes clear. So what happens is that I think because Google owns Facebook, I'm
Oh,
sorry, not Facebook, Google owns YouTube,
YouTube.
that what happens is that they're not set up for an Apple product.
Oh,
And I found that out because my wife cannot send me anything in a text
hmm,
or email on an Apple device because it's blurry and I can't see it. So what I do have her do is I tell her send it to Instant Messenger. I download it from Instant Messenger and it's a perfect picture. I never
interesting.
would have believed it. And if you Google that, you'll find out that that is it is something that happens.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but it's true too.
So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna play around and we last week when Alan and I were playing around, we created that trading Facebook Messenger group. Um, Nobody's really monitoring that, but feel free to pop in and ask questions if you want, because I go in there once in a while, I'll ask questions, I'll answer questions, that sort of thing. Um, and like I said, and the last thing that I want to do, because I know people are starting to buy, because I mentioned the earnings app. A couple people have already said, I'm just going to buy an Android phone and do it that way. If you send me, because Google will give you an email with a receipt of the 5 minute stock roll app, the one that triggers based on the 5 minute, um, and you subscribe to that earnings app, the option volume app, I'll refund that subscription, the option volume one. Because I think it's a handy tool to go in hand with the 5 minute rule. Um, wish I had
So
both.
how I do it, what I've been doing lately, just so everybody knows how I've been doing it, I've found it's been very successful, especially on Fridays. What I do is that before I take a trade, I run the earnings app, which is actually just giving you volumes on the options. I run that before I take the trade, and I am amazed how many trades I've taken and not taken because of that app. Because when I'm seeing, even like the other day, I saw Rite Aid 167 times calls. I'm like, are you kidding me? What the hell's going on a Friday? And
Yeah.
I was going to take the trade. It was I could have got it for $10 an option. I was going to get 50 of them, and sure enough, that thing went up 25 cents. But the point is that the stock never moves unless it moves through the options first. It's always the way it works. So.
Well, and to bring up a still kind of a touchy subject with me, you saw it with J&J on Wednesday and Thursday of last week. That option volume said, "Hey, something's going on," and so yeah,
Oh, so were you in on that J&J trade on Friday?
I I was, but I
Oh,
sold it
good.
right before it took off. I
Oh,
so even though I made like I don't know, I almost 50%. Yeah, I was, and like I said,
oh, that was beautiful.
yeah, and yeah, so um I need to
I love posting them. I mean, uh, to my knowledge, there's people have made 10,000 on that one. So that was a
right.
good
Well,
one.
what I need to stop doubting myself and I need to stop looking at the bottom line. Um because it was funny because and I was going to mention why I got out of Gap. I'm walking my dogs and I'm looking at my phone tick for tick, waiting for this thing to drop. And I'm like, I can't do that. I I need to learn to get away from that kind of thing because I'll sit there and stare at it and watch, okay, this tick, this tick, this tick. And that's what I did with J&J.
Yeah.
It wasn't moving, it wasn't moving. And I'm like, had I just stepped away for a while and came back, I would have been in a much better position. So
And that was a huge move. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen J&J move that much because I don't know what happened because they went ex dividend. So right off the bat, I mean, the stock instead of being at 158, which is what I figured, it opened at 157 because of that dividend.
yeah.
So I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, I was doubting myself. I'm like, is that gonna move that? I mean, that's a huge move on a Friday, because J&J doesn't move that much. But
Yeah.
I stuck to my what I saw and what was going on, and it worked. So
Yeah. That's what I need to do. So stick to my convictions. So
sounds amazing.
yeah. With that said, hopefully you guys have a good rest of the week. I'm here if you need me. Alan's here on Facebook if you need him. Hopefully you guys get enough of this and like and subscribe. Feel free to reach out. I love chatting. I love chatting about the market, what's going on, and different stocks or areas or industries, that sort of thing. So take it
Awesome.
easy. Talk to you later.